Not me and my tissues, just ready. Okay, my life, it's been a long one. What's up? It's your girl Danny DMC. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're a part of the Confidence crew. I'm so glad you guys are here today. Make sure you hit that big juicy red button, scream and subscribe below if you are not already a part of the family. This video might scare you away from being a part of the family. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's do a collective deep breath. Two more, because 3 is my lucky number. That felt nice. Hello. You guys see me with my blanket? This is a cozy environment today. And I kind of want to kick this video off. Obviously, if you could tell from the title below, this video is about my childhood, something I've never really talked about or opened up on camera a lot about, and I'll get into why in a second. But kind of what kickstarted this video. If you haven't seen it, I really suggest you pause this video, open another tab, and go onto YouTube and type in, not my voice is already raspy, go into YouTube and type in The Confidence Hour, that's my podcast, and watch the episode with me and my mom. This video will make a lot more sense. This is like the part 2 to that video that launched this Wednesday. I'm filming this, it's Thursday, so it's the day after launch, but you guys are seeing this Sunday because I upload every Sunday. And just like a little backstory on The Confidence Hour, I really wanted to create a safe space. And that's really like it. I wanted to create a safe space, period. There's not a lot of safe spaces on the internet these days. And it's like, even if you try to say, I'm creating a safe space, it's not always gonna be safe. And that's true with The Confidence Hour as well. It's like, I want it to be a safe space. I want everyone to come with the right energy and loving and, you know, cozy. And so far, actually, it's been incredible. We are 7 episodes in, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we have 4 episodes left. It's 11 episodes in the season. In season 1, we have 4 episodes left. I will also be doing a solo ep at the end of the season. Sorry, I needed that. I don't know why my throat is hoarse. The throat chakra is something's going on there because this is all about like speaking and being vulnerable, and I really don't know that much about chakras. I just feel like that sounded cool. But if anyone knows about chakras, comment below and tell me what's going on. But yeah, so I really wanted to create The Confidence Hour so that guests could come on and have this safe space. And it could be this cozy environment. You could see even with the set, I wanted everything to be very cozy and have celebrities, content creators, but also people that have just been through really traumatic things and have a story. And I think it just shows we all have a story in some capacity. And I didn't want to just do that and not practice what I preach. So that was my intention in the episode with me and my mom, is I really wanted to be vulnerable, which is really hard for me, open up, and create a safe space for me and my mom, because me and my mom have been through so much. And I wanted to showcase that. People have always seen my mom, and they've, you know, on social media, and they've seen this amazing relationship we have, but I think it's really important to know we haven't always had that relationship. And my family actually went through a lot of turbulence. And, you know, my family's a foursome, my mom, my dad, my sister, and me. My sister and my dad, I do not put on camera. They're very private people, and we've never even really talked about it. I just know their boundaries, so I like respect them. Same my nephews, I don't put my nephews on social media at all. They're my children, they're tatted on me. So yeah, so really it's just me and my mom that are in the public light. And so we've chosen to talk about our story, but haven't really included my dad and sister because obviously we want to respect them. And it really, the main component of, you know, the dynamic when I was younger was me and my mom were really, my sister and I have always been close. We've always been best friends. My dad did travel a lot for work when I was younger, and I'm grateful for that because he was able to, you know, create a life not only for our family, but for his extended family, and just create a legacy, which I'm so proud of him for, being second generation American. And yeah, he inspires me all the time. But all that being said, being in such a beautiful place in my relationship with my family today, my family is literally my everything, you guys. Like, it's actually insane, and they always have been, if that makes sense. And I'll go into this deeper, but My family, like I moved here, right? And I went through a breakup. I lost a lot of friends in LA. So I really am alone in London. I don't know that many people. Omar's like my closest friend who you guys have known. And I don't really have that many close relationships yet. I have spent more alone time now than I've ever spent in my entire life. And I am gonna make another video about how I healed through my breakup because that is one of the most asked questions I get. I don't know if it'll be the next video because that's a lot of emotions back to back, okay? And she's just stepping into this. But in the next month for sure, you will get that video. I'll touch more on like all of that. But my family's my best friends. Like literally, let's just open my call log. My call log is literally my sister, my dad, my sister, my mom. This is my baby cousin, Omar. My sister, my mom, my mom, my mom, my mom, my mom, my sister, my mom, my dad, my mom, my dad. Tell me you have no friends without telling me you have no friends. No, but my family is my friends. My mom is my best friend in the whole world. I tell her everything. And it's crazy because this is the relationship I would like see in the movies that I wanted as a kid, but I could never have had that relationship with my mom as a kid because I needed boundaries and my mom couldn't give them to me, which you guys kind of gathered from the episode. Basically, I just want to like walk through my childhood a bit because I feel like I just wanted to add a bit more context to like what I shared. I had a hard childhood. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and I had a great childhood in my home. My parents were married and loving and treated each other so well. I actually really never saw them fight. The only time I saw them fight was about me, and so that was hard. And they would try and like hide it, but I was nosy. My sister and I have always been close. She's like my rock and has been for a long time. We're 2 years apart. When I went to school, that's when like things got rough. I started getting bullied really young, like first grade, by 2 boys, and being bullied by boys is not for the weak. And I immediately was taught in school, you are not worthy, you're not lovable, you're fat, you're gonna get like scrutinized every day because of how you physically are. And then on top of that, I started having teachers, like we talked about this in the episode, there was like this epidemic of ADHD, which I feel like is coming back with like ADHD and autism and everyone having it and self-diagnosing and whatever, but it was like very prominent when I was a kid. And I hated school. Even now, like sometimes with content creation, you'll get invited to events. I got invited to a lecture. It was actually about the gut microbiome, which was fascinating because I love health, but it was like a long lecture. And it's like, I'm a creative. You know what I'm saying? Like I put it in a song, put it in a music video, I'll grasp it. You know what I mean? And I feel like we don't prioritize really creative minds in school, especially back in the early 2000s, right? So I had a bunch of teachers telling my mom she can't concentrate, she's the loudest in the room, or, she distracts the other kids, which again, like, I'm a child. You're trying to give structure to a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, for some kids, it's easy. Some kids are great listeners and whatever. But some kids, and honestly, what I've seen now is the kids that go on to be these super creative humans with dynamic ideas and whatever are often the ones that are the loudest and can't monitor or regulate their emotions or focus or whatever the case may be. Our doctors, our lawyers, our surgeons, which we need, are even like with my nephew, I can see it. I feel like he can focus really good and he's a genius. Like he could go on to be like, some type of biomedical engineer, some smart people shit, okay? But all kids are different. So anyway, I had a lot of teachers just in my mom's ear off rip. And as you could tell from the episode, like my mom had a really rough childhood. We didn't like dive into it super deep on the podcast, and that's my mom's story. But now that I'm an adult, I see my mom so much clearer as a mother. And she had no idea what she was doing, which most moms don't. And she had no one to call, no guidance. And she had no ability to set boundaries and give me structure, which I was like the #1 child that needed structure. And with that came a lot of people that were able to set boundaries in their personal lives, trying to put their opinion on my mom. And my mom is a fixer. She just wants her kids to be happy. And I think that is the beautiful thing about my mom. It cursed us a little as kids, but I think that's a really beautiful thing about my mom is she always wants good. My mom could never have malicious intent if she tried. She is the kindest human being on the earth. And I think a lot of you asked, how I was able to forgive her, and I'll get into that more, but that was a huge part of it. And so my mom had a lot of people in her ear manipulating her, telling her she has ADHD. I remember getting all these tests done, IQ tests, going to therapy at a super, super, super young age, getting put on medicine, these meds. So now I'm told physically I'm worthless and I'm unlovable. And then obviously you start telling yourself, and I would, again, was nosy, I would overhear conversations of my mom on the phone with my teachers and whatever. And back in the day you had those like big phones and they'd be on speaker sometimes so I could hear what my teacher was saying, and then just talking about my mind. So now it's like my body, my personality, and my mental capacity or intellect or whatever, everything is being questioned about me. And I no longer felt, I can just be myself in my home. I can't be myself at school with teachers or with kids. So it was like I went to this really dark and lonely place internally. And I do think that's when I started to learn how to care for myself. I think I learned that at a really young age, how to show up for me and how to love myself. I still felt so much love for my family, and we had the best time. I mean, we did the funnest things. We went on trips, and I had a very privileged childhood, especially financially. Like my dad was really, my childhood changed a lot. Like my dad worked so hard so that our lives continually got better financially. And so we were going on these amazing trips, and like me and my sister were always in a room together, and we had the best time. And there were so many good things going on, but there was also a lot of darkness, and especially at school. So life continues. My dad gets a big job promotion that he'd been working for really hard. We moved to Chicago, which I was so excited for because I was like, give me a new life. I want to reinvent myself. I'm 13, 14 at the time. I can fully reinvent myself. And even before I left Chicago, I definitely was like, I wanted to disassociate and disconnect from everything around me. So my family, my school life. And so in some of my extracurricular activities, I started meeting other people and other friends that were not involved in my school life, because there were a couple girls that were sweet to me in middle school and lower, not a lot. I didn't have a lot of friends, but outside of school I did, and I really found my people. And I just was an adventurer from a young age. I didn't want to stay in my neighborhood. I didn't want to be around who I was supposed to be around in school and whatever. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to see different people and different cultures, and I love that about myself. And my sister was actually quite like that as well. But that being said, I definitely was intrigued by older kids. Like my first boyfriend, I was 14, he was 17. I was intrigued by older kids and kids that were doing bad things. I was like, oh, what's up? Like, I want to know, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? It excited me. So when I moved to Chicago, this is a whole new city, massive city, much more dangerous than Cleveland. Cleveland is like, especially when I was growing up, it was nothing compared to Chicago. So now I'm with the big boys in Chicago. I'm seeing things I shouldn't be seeing. I'm experiencing things I shouldn't be experiencing. I'm not hanging around with kids. Even like I met some friends in summer school. Yes, I had to go to summer school because, didn't pay attention in school. My first year of high school, I had to go to summer school. And I met some really good kids, some nice kids, some cool kids, and the friend, like one of my closest friends, she was like my closest friend. She even said to me, like, you're going down the wrong path. Because I started hanging out with not the best kids that were not paying attention to school, not doing good stuff, fighting a lot, mixed up in bad shit. And again, I was intrigued by that. My friends that were on the straight and narrow, I'm like, this is cool, but it's like a little boring. I need some adventure. And yeah, I not only started, doing bad things and whatever. And when I say bad things, it's like, obviously I don't want to go into too much detail because I just, there's certain limits and figuring that out is important. I feel like for me too, but I was not doing drugs. I was not drinking. I was not having sex. Was I around all three of those things? Absolutely. Tenfold. But it's interesting because being raised by a woman that didn't have good boundaries, I had phenomenal boundaries. I think I was born with boundaries because I had the ability to say no. Like that guy that I dated when I was 17, I'll never forget, or when I was 14, he was 17. We were like making out one time. Mind you, I had never even like touched a man like that. We're making out, pulls out a condom. and opens it. And I look at him and I start laughing. I'm 14. I start laughing and I go, we're not having sex. And he was like, wait, what? Really? And I was like, yeah, I'm 14. I've never even seen a guy naked. And he was like, oh, but like, you're gonna make me waste the condom. Like, tried to make me feel bad for a second. And I was like, yeah, you can throw it away. Like, I was very sure of myself. And I do think that's what made me a hard kid to raise, because I was like that with my parents too. If I made my mind up about something, and again, my dad, I will say, like, I was afraid of my dad. My dad was the parent you don't play with. But again, Monday through Friday, my dad was not home. He was traveling like crazy, trying to provide for our family. And again, I'm forever grateful for that. And when he got home, I would act right. And my mom would be like, get it together. When things got really bad, I was no longer acting right for my dad. Like, again, not gonna go into explicit detail, you guys, but like, I tried to fight my dad. This is a 6'2" macho Italian man that played D1 sports in college. Physically tried to fight the man, okay? He could have hemmed me up, okay? He could have beat my ass, but he chose strength. He kicked me out of the house. But yeah, he, like, both of my parents, I do give them a lot of credit. And I think it was hard to be so vulnerable, you guys, and share my entire story of obviously being sent away. And do I think my parents made a mistake? Yeah, I think, you know, they were fed, especially my mom was fed, you know, she's gonna run away, she's so defiant, whatever. And at the time, and you'll see there's so many stories like this, I'm not this like lone wolf, this whole like having people come in your house in the middle of the night, it was common back then. So it was like these people were manipulating a lot of parents. And don't get me wrong, there are parents out there that have malicious intent. We're like, yeah, get my kid out of here and I'm not gonna be involved and do what you gotta do. That was not my parents. My parents were very much involved in terms of like, so essentially there were these like two officers these people that like do these, for lack of better words, kidnappings. I hate that word because my parents would never intend for that. And I think knowing that, it made it hard. And knowing that in my later life, trust me, when I was younger, I had a lot of anger. After this program, I didn't talk about this for like 8 years. I just wanted it to be over. So you have to know there's a lot of history. I'm 32. I'm 32 years old. This happened to me when I was 14. So I've lived a lot of life since this. I know I'm like getting all over the place, but it's hard to like, you know, there's a lot, guys. It's a lot. And it's scary to talk about because I wish I could just come on here and like think about how healing this is for me to talk about openly, but I can't. I have to think about my mom, who I'm very protective over. I have to think about reaction, and that's what I hate about social media, is I just want it to be all love, because I would never go on social media and spew hate in comments or anything. But okay, so let's walk through it. We can do this. So I'll never forget, I'm 14 years old, I'm in my bed. My dog used to sleep with me. So my dog, Maxie, she was on my bed and she starts barking like crazy. It's like 4 a.m. I'm like, why is she barking? But I'm half asleep. My mom comes in my room, takes Maxie because she heard her barking. So I'm like, oh, she just must be getting her, whatever. Goes downstairs. 30 minutes later, my mom comes in my room and she sits next to me on my bed, and she was like, very emotional. And she was like, Dan, wake up. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, you know, I know it's been really hard for us, but I think we like kind of found a solution. And so I don't even remember what she said, you guys, fully, but you know, she was obviously upset. She was rubbing my head and whatever. These people came in my room and it was weird. It's all kind of a blur. And I just remember they weren't mean, but there was a woman and a man. They weren't mean, but they were skeptical of me. They were trained on, you know, kids like me. And so I remember they wouldn't let me go to the bathroom with the door closed. They're like, we need to see you at all times. And I was like, okay. And, you know, I think deep down I was this really soft kid, but all this like harshness had taken over because of all the harshness of the world fucking me up. So I listened to everything they said. I was scared shitless, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was scared. I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I did everything they said. And my parents were crying, and it was really emotional. My sister was away at camp. It was an emotional time, not gonna lie. It was dark, and I just remember them saying, do you wanna say goodbye to your parents? And at first I was like, no. And then once I was in the car, I was like, okay, I wanna say goodbye. And my mom like ran over to the window, and the window, I rolled the window down. Oh, it's hard to talk about this. Okay. I rolled the window down and I was crying and I was like, Mom, when am I gonna see you? And she's like, really soon. You're gonna see me really soon, I promise. And I was like, okay. So then we go to the airport. I have no idea where we're going. We fly to Minnesota. And the craziest part, it's crazy how you disassociate and like you don't remember things when it comes to trauma. I don't remember anything but going into this wilderness program that was supposed to be 6 weeks. I was there for 8 weeks because I was so bad. And my parents met me that night. And I don't remember. Like as soon as I landed, they were there in Minnesota. So they also flew there. So it's like they were with me every step of the way, but they were told that I would run away so they couldn't fly with me and blah, 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 whatever. They were fed. So they were there. I don't remember seeing them. Like literally, my mom has told me and I'm picking my brain and I want to remember seeing them. I do not remember seeing them at all. Like that's crazy. So I go to this wilderness program. Wilderness program wasn't that bad. It was like hiking and like outward bound type stuff where they also, there's like, you know, therapy groups and like all these kids have, you know, been through rough stuff. Definitely like I had probably been through the least out of most of them. But I really liked the girls and we got along and there were a couple bad things in wilderness. Like there was one thing, yeah, this is dark now that I think about it. They wanted you'd have to do these solos for 3 days. And nothing scared me more in life than being alone at this point. Also, I have no control over my life. I have no idea where the fuck I am. They blindfold you and walk you into the middle of the woods so you don't know where you are and set up a camp for you, just you. And then all the other girls are like far away. You can't hear each other, nothing. And they come and bring you food and you're there for 3 days by yourself. Not by choice. And again, these are the things they like don't tell parents. Like, and even like when I was allowed to write letters to my family and they would write letters to me, my family wrote me so many letters and like sent me care packages and stuff. But every letter I wrote them was monitored and I wasn't allowed to say certain things. So like I remember saying to my family, I do think this has been good for me. I can't wait to come back and start school in August or whatever. Like I'm gonna be so much better, blah, blah, blah. And they wouldn't let me say, I'm so ready to come back and start school. And I should have known then, but I saw it clearly after, oh, okay, I'm not going home. So basically there was this day called Impact Letter Day or something where you wrote an impact, your family wrote an impact letter basically about how everything has impacted them, basically how you have impacted them, and it was intense. Everyone had to read their letter out loud. Intense. And at the end of everyone's letter, besides one girl, the family said what's happening next. Most people went on to programs like I did. One girl was allowed to go home. Oh, we were all so jealous of her. And we didn't really understand. So after Wilderness, you had like a graduation ceremony. My family came and I got to spend 2 or 3 days with them. And I was prepped for this 2 or 3 days. Do not manipulate them. No talking about going home. No talking about, you know, like all this stuff. And they do try and brainwash you in these programs. And then I went to said program, which has now shut down. Thank you, Jesus. But I'm not gonna go too much in detail about that. I was there for 2 years. It was super manipulative. It was all a mind game. You moved up in levels. Based on the levels, you could do certain things. But I will say my family was so involved. A lot of families weren't, and that's why I understand like not having forgiveness. My family came, which it was across the country. I was on the West Coast in this program. My family was in the Midwest. And they flew out. I mean, I don't even know how they did it with my sister's school and my dad's work. They flew out a lot. And there were workshops that they would be involved in and different things like that. And of course, when the parents were there, everything was great and shiny and, you know, whatever. But I will say I was never sexually, physically abused in any way. Was I manipulated? Absolutely. Was it like a scare tactic and brainwashing? Absolutely. And I definitely know that other girls were harmed in other ways. And it was just messed up. Were there lights? Yes. Like and I don't mean lights like lights on, lights off. Lights like women that worked there. There were men and women that worked there, which also there shouldn't have been men working there because it was an all women's program. But there were definitely some people that the staff, some of the security that were kind, that were genuine, that looked out for us. The owner or CEO or whatever of the program was horrible, extremely manipulative, and not very involved. She was really never around until the parents came around. But yeah, after I finally got set free from this program, you have to graduate, and it's like they all decide. It's all, again, it's like politics. It's like if you suck up to them enough, and the owner especially, she'll move you along. And there were girls that went through the program so fast, and me it took 2 years because I'm not gonna suck your dick. But eventually I did, because I was like, okay, the only way to do this, you know, get over your ego, let it go, because you gotta get through, you gotta get out of here. Then after that, my parents were told, you know, still don't let her come home. So I went to a normal boarding school, which I loved. This is like normal. It's not Zoe 101, but like close to it. And it was amazing. That was my best high school experience. Like it was normal school, normal people, phenomenal. I loved that school, and that's where like most of my high school friends are from. And that was my only, well, besides I went to a high school in Chicago for 1 year, and that also was a good experience. I mean, besides me being a horrible child. So yeah, then after I left the program and went on to normal boarding school, I just didn't talk about it. I think the brainwashing, you know, stayed, the whole like don't talk to your family about it, blah, 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 stayed with me. I would have these horrible nightmares about being back in the program. It's funny because people harp so much on the like being taken in the middle of the night, which that's dark, don't get me wrong. That is like, that should never happen to anyone. But that wasn't even what really sat with me. It was like this program I was in that I would just get these nightmares. I'd be like 21 getting nightmares about being back there. And once you're 18, if you turned 18 there, which I didn't because I was so young, I was there from 14 to 16, girls would walk off. You could walk off campus because you're a legal adult now. No one that turned 18 stayed. Like everyone would just walk off. And I remember, I think there was one girl that walked off, but she was so brainwashed she came back. It was crazy. But anyway, I didn't talk about it for like 8 years. The first time I started talking about it was when I moved to LA. I found this therapist. Oh, she was amazing. I'll never forget this, you guys. And it's funny because my ex used to say to me, and obviously he knew what I've been through, but not on like deep levels. He would say, you gotta forgive your parents, because I would, you guys, like so many of you are like, how did you forgive that? How did you forgive her? How did you forgive your parents? I did not forgive. I would throw it in my parents' face. Like literally, it'd be nothing. We'd be talking about nothing, and I'd be like, oh, well, that's why you sent me away. Like literally, and my ex would be like, bro, your parents are so good to you. Like you need to chill. Like you need to work through that. You need to, and of course he didn't understand. Okay. But I did. He was right. Like I needed to go to therapy, and I needed to, because if you don't want to forgive your parents, that's totally fine and totally you're right. But normally people that don't forgive their parents aren't around them. I was so close in my family. That closeness never stopped. Like again, even when I was away, my parents were so present in my life. They called me every single day. The first 30 days of the program, you can't talk to family, but besides that, they called me every single day. They wrote me letters. My extended family wrote me letters. Like everyone was so involved in making me not feel alone, even though you couldn't help but feel alone. And yeah, so I started going to therapy, and I'll never forget, my therapist said to me, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That should have never happened to you. And I like kind of sat there like this, and then I lost it. Like just, it all came out. Because no one had said sorry to me. She was the first person that said sorry to me. This woman that doesn't even know me, this was like our second or third session. And I was like, what? And I had another doctor when I started getting really bad anxiety and panic attacks. This was a couple years ago, like 2021. I saw this psychiatrist in Chicago. Again, he's not like a therapist. He's a medicine doctor. Love him, love that man. He'll be front row at my wedding. I always tell him. Changed my life, saved my life. He said the same thing. I'm so sorry. And before him, but again, just like people not knowing me and saying I'm so sorry, it healed me. Like it was crazy. So that was the beginning of my healing journey. It was this therapy. I went every single week, super intense therapy. And then my therapist recommended, and it's funny because my therapist at first, I could tell she didn't understand the relationship between me and my mom, why I was so protective of my mom, why I was so close with my mom now, even though we hadn't talked about her, I hadn't forgiven her, until she met her. And that's why you guys have to understand my forgiveness journey. And I'll go more into that. But eventually my therapist was like, I said, what if we had a session with my mom? And she's like, I think that'd be a great idea. She's like, I want to have a session with your mom privately first, then you separate, and then you two together. And my mom has shared this too, that in their session, my therapist said to her, this is going to be hard for you, but I need you to validate, or not I need you, but you need to validate her experience. That's what children need, and blah, 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 and whatever. My call was like, I just want you to not be afraid to hurt your mom, because I am so protective of my mom. You need to be honest. You need to get everything out. We had like a 2.5-hour therapy session, and it was the most healing experience, I think, of like my mom has had many healing experiences. My mom is very into emotional growth, therapy, meditation, etc. And obviously she's about to be 70, so she's lived a lot more life than me. She's had many experiences like that, but this I think was the most emotionally healing experience of my life. My mom and I were able to see each other in such a clear way, and my mom said to me, I'm sorry. I would take that back if I could. I would do it different if I could. And just so many things that were so healing. And I then later had a conversation with my dad. My dad is not an emotional man. He's not. Any Italian guys out there, you can relate for the most part. But we had a couple conversations too where he said similar things to me. And it was just so healing. And again, I did have so much more blame for my mom than my dad, because my dad was a bit disconnected during that time because of work. And it was me and my mom living under the same roof every day that were having these issues. But the thing I'll say, you guys, about my mom and what I touched on with my therapist until she met my mom, when you know my mom and you meet my mom, and for me personally, I see my mom so clearly. I see her heart, I see her soul, I see her spirit. And when you see someone in that way, you can't help but forgive them. My mom was a broken child. She lost her mom when she was so young, and she was forced to be a parent at 6 years old. And I just have so much empathy for her. And I don't know, maybe this is supposed to be my story, my ability to empathize. But I know my mom would never do anything to hurt me. And if my mom saw how painful people coming to take me in the middle of the night, the wilderness, and the program was, if she was living with me, not being fed, this is what it's gonna look like, and this is what they're doing while she's there, and blah, blah, blah. If she lived with me, she would never have done that. And I know that. And that's what gives me peace. And I would not trade the relationship I have with my mom for anything in the world. That woman is the love of my life, my light, my peace, and I know I'm the same for her. And so I understand it was hard yesterday. Yesterday was emotional, guys, coming out with that episode. I talked to my mom after too, and I was crying, and it was just a lot. It was like an emotional release yesterday, sharing all of this as well. And I feel like this video is a bit chaotic too. I meant for this to be like a 20-minute sit down. I'm like in a therapy session right now. But it's hard to talk about this and open, and it feels like this is the first time I ever shared. My therapist said this too, and I feel like this is how this video is. It's very matter of fact. Like, this is what happened, because it's hard for me to like do the emotions too, But with my mom, and when I'm alone, I do the emotions. And I did them yesterday. I cried with her, and she was saying it was hard because she saw some comments like, saying shame on her. And, I did delete some comments because, guys, I signed up for this life. My mom didn't. And my mom's like, but I'm not letting it get to me, because they're right. Like, not the shame on her part, but they're right that like, it wasn't a great decision, and these places shouldn't be open. And she's like, that's why we need to tell our story. And she's just so strong, you guys. My mom I was like getting emotional because she was like, yeah, it's just hard to see those comments, blah, blah, blah. And she's just a warrior. She sent me, after we hung up, she was like, Dan, the universe just spoke to me once again. I'm on a walk, and I started listening to Mel Robbins' Let Them. I want to start reading that. She said, the truth is, people will have negative opinions about you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do to change this fact. When you allow your fear of what other people think to stop you from doing what you want to do, you become a prisoner to other people's opinions. She said, mind-blowing, right? I realize I don't want you to delete any comments, Dan. Let them. We're proud of what we're doing. It's important, the short story we're sharing. Not everyone is going to relate, but some will understand and be inspired by it. I just love that woman. And I'm so grateful you guys are empathizing with my story and you're supporting my pain and the darkness for me. It's just hard because I am protective of my mom too. She's the love of my life. And I think I'm able to forgive her. So, like, literally when I tell you I have fully let go of her decision, do I have anger and hate towards the people that advised her? Absolutely. That's where my resentment is. And the people that run those programs and all of that, have I fully forgiven that and let go of that? No, absolutely not. I'll be fully honest with you. But I've forgiven my family and I'm grateful for it because we have such a beautiful life together now, all four of us, and especially my parents. You know, my sister's married with kids. She works full-time, her husband works full-time. They have so much going on in their life that I've had a lot of connection with just me and my parents. Recently, they come to London to visit me a lot. I go visit them a lot, and I just love them. I literally love them. They're my favorite people. Like, if I feel like I got so lucky with parents, even with all of that, okay? I do feel like I hit the lottery with parents, and I know how deeply I'm loved, and I'm grateful for that, and I know my parents regret the decision they made, and it is a part of my story. And I think that where I'm going in life now, I'm supposed to be stepping into confidence coach, motivational speaker, sharing my light into the world. And in order for me to fully do that, I want to be open and vulnerable about my story. And how cool that my mom agreed to be a part of that when it is such a dark thing and she could be, you know, hated on or whatever. I just think she's amazing. And yeah, I feel good about sharing my story, even though it's hard and scary and gives me butterflies. It's a part of who I am and what I went through. And I do believe there's no mistake in what I've endured in my life to get where I am now, and to allow me to connect and empathize and lead. And yeah, so I know this video was a bit all over the place. My mouth is so dry, I'm nervous, I'm anxious, I don't even know what I'm talking about. But I do know what I'm talking about. It's just a bit jumbled because it's hard when you're vulnerable, you guys, and opening up about new things and new topics. So I hope that you take something away from this video, and I hope that you watch the Confidence Hour and watch the episode with me and my mom and see the love and see the resilience and see the beauty in rebuilding in our relationship, and see the pain and see the darkness, and know that I made it through and my mom made it through, and somehow together we made it through. Now that doesn't take away from a lot of darkness that I faced, but I am a warrior. That is one thing about me. You can put me through a hell of a lot of shit, I'm gonna come out stronger 10 times out of 10. That being said, all of these places need to be closed. I'm so grateful that the program I was in is closed. I think they have like some lawsuits against them as well. Huge shout out to Paris Hilton. I never was a huge Paris Hilton girl. When her documentary came out, I got a lot of messages about, you know, people that are close to me like, hey, you might want to check this out. I was really scared to watch it because I knew I was going to be triggered. It was phenomenal. I watched it, and she was the beginning of, I believe, my program getting closed and so many others like it getting closed. So if this brings awareness to that in any capacity, I've served my purpose. And if any parents see this, there's other ways. I promise there's other ways. Children should be under their parents' roof until they go off to university, or until 18, or until later. Like, live with your family forever. Parents are like, don't say that. I love you guys, and I love this community, and I'm grateful for the ones that see me and understand and see the growth and the evolution and can see how much pain I went through, but how resilient I am for the ability to heal and go to therapy and do the work I need to do so I don't carry this with me the rest of my life. For those of you that have chosen to not forgive your parents, again, that's totally within your right, but I want you to do the work to let go, because that shit, it disrupts your nervous system, and you should not have to live with the bad decisions that other people made, like still weighing on you. So please seek help and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. And just remember, like always, through all of this, the only person you will always have, the only person that you have to answer to at the end of the day is you, from beginning to end. I love you guys so much, And you already know the drill. I'm not going anywhere. I'm always gonna be here, okay? And I think things are just getting better. I'm really stepping into my calling more, and I feel that with the Confidence Hour a lot, so I hope you guys are tuned in. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you very soon. Make sure you hit that big juicy red button, scream and subscribe, and you below. Join the family, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Sheesh!